About a month ago, a good friend of mine, Josh Sokol, made a video about my Scrabble career in which he said a lot of very flattering things about me. Many of you know Josh already, but if you don't, Josh is the reigning North American Scrabble champion and a fellow Scrabble content creator. And in this video, he very generously left out the many times that he has completely outplayed me over the Scrabble board. So I thought in this video, I would repay the favor, fill in some of those gaps as I explain how good is Josh Sokol actually. Again, Josh is the reigning North American champion, but he didn't just win the championship this year. He completely dominated it. And his full year long results are even crazier. This level of sustained success over the course of a year is completely unheard of. And Josh has more than earned his current number one ranking in North America. To get to this level, you need to be excellent at all phases of the game, and Josh definitely is. Still, where I think Josh stands out from other players is his creativity and his willingness to innovate. And I have some examples to show you, including some games between the two of us, that are going to illustrate this point. This is round 8 from the 2019 championship a couple years ago. I go first. I open the game with Greek for 30, and Josh holds AACITTZ. He has some solid moves here. Tiz underneath Greek for 30 points looks fine. Expert players will spot and play moves like that quickly. But instead, Josh plays Asita for only 7 points. This is just such an awesome play on his part because he has the perfect 3-tile combination on his rack to threaten guaranteed 63-point Z-bombs in both spots. And blocking them both requires me to score very little. I definitely was aware that Josh was likely to have the Z, but it felt like my blocking plays were too big of sacrifices. And in my mind, I had to pick one of the two spots to block with a 27-point play and hope that he didn't have a Z play with the other spot. So I figured the bottom one was more threatening, and I played Foo for 27. Josh immediately answers with Futz for 67 points. So had I played a blocking play like Unroof, which would have been 16 points less than my play, but blocking both spots, Josh's highest scoring move would have been 38 points less than what he got for Futz, which works out great for me. But Josh knows that facing these unique, weird situations like this one is a strength of his and a weakness for many players, myself included. So thanks to Asita, Josh jumped out to a quick lead with his Z play and ended up beating me very soundly in this game. Let's fast forward now to round 24 of the same tournament, where midway through this game, holding 7 consonants, I play New for 21, holding on to FLR, and I'm trying to draw an O for Flexor through EX here. Meanwhile, Josh has the Q with 2 U's on his rack, and the best ways he can play the Q now are Took or Toke for 30 points, both of which place an E in the triple lane. But I just played 3 consonants, and Josh knows that exposing a vowel in the triple lane, especially an E, is quite dangerous, given that I'm likely holding either a consonant heavy or a balanced leave after New. So he makes another really creative and awesome play here. Fug for only 7 points. The key to this play is the Fugu hook, which allows 5-letter QU plays to score a minimum of 76 points. And with his AEO QU leave, he's got a great chance of drawing a play in that spot. So as soon as I saw Fug, I should have realized that blocking this hook was a top priority, and I can do that with Litho for 29 points. Instead, I immediately played Flexor for 40 because I had drawn the O. Normally, that's a good move, but not so much if you suspect your opponent has QU on their rack. Even then, I get a huge stroke of luck when Josh fails to draw any of the letters he needs, and instead he plays his best move of Coop, preserving his Q spot for next turn. But sadly, instead of blocking it, I play another standard move of Math for 28, trying to maximize my chances of bingoing because I've drawn the first blank. I absolutely need to block this Q spot now that he's had multiple chances to draw something there. And with the aid of that extra chance, Josh draws EL blank and plays equaled for 128 points to essentially clinch the game on the spot. This is just the tip of the iceberg. One of my favorite Josh stories is the time he opened against another top expert, Cesar del Solar, with the word A, which, just to be clear, is not a valid play. His opening rack has no 7-letter words, but forms 8-letter words with a large number of tiles. Simply exchanging one A would be nearly automatic for most top players here, Josh included, since he can draw similarly many 7 words after that exchange. But after a short exchange, expert players often counter exchange rather than placing any letters on the board that their opponent might need to bingo. If Cesar believes that challenging A would somehow be taking Josh's bait, he might simply let it stay on the board and exchange tiles in response anyway. But if that had happened, notice how many of the 8-letter words that Josh can draw start with the letter A, and will therefore hit the triple word score for a much heavier score than his 7s would after exchanging A. Playing A is classic Josh, a completely outside the box move that nobody else would make just to put his opponent in a totally new, uncomfortable position. Another classic Josh move is placing an opening bingo in an incredibly aggressive position like this, setting up a monstrous hook when he suspects it might induce a mistake from an opponent. For example, tertial looks like an adjective, but it's actually a noun and takes an S hook, which his opponent might not know. He's also done this with titular, sailing, and anurin. Even if his opponents are solid on the hooks, they could also blunder by sacrificing too many points to block the hooks if they don't have them. Most players would be too risk averse to consider these placements, but Josh is completely fearless if he senses an opportunity. Lest you think that Josh is only great because of these mad scientist style plays, he's also played some of the most stylish long word bingos I've ever seen in Scrabble. Here are a few of my favorites. In this position, he has the blank, but no playable 7 or 8-letter bingos. But nevertheless, he spots the incredibly slick Spirulina for 78 points. Next up, with a modest lead in this game, Josh could fish off his W or play Winter for 34, but spots the beautiful co-written through disconnected tiles to instantly seal this game. In this early game position, holding the X, Josh could play the simple tax for 44, but somehow has the patience to find his only playable bingo of antitoxin for 68 points. A few moves into this game, Josh has the blank and a bunch of playable bingos like Bonniest and Unbitten, but manages to bingo through Za with Byzantine for 90 points. Here, Josh again has the blank and has some 7-letter words he can play, but instead plays the incredibly rarely seen 10-letter bingo of negotiates. Unbelievable. And finally, in this position, there's only one playable bingo. It's not a 7, it's not an 8, it's not a 9, it's not even a 10. It's an 11-letter bingo of interviewer for 90 points. Absolutely mind-blowing stuff. Josh's overall extremely high skill level, combined with that creativity and passion for innovating at Scrabble, make him so fun to watch. So I really recommend subscribing to his YouTube channel over at AxerTypo. You will also be helping him to get to that all-important 1,000 subscriber milestone. And in fact, I'm going to sweeten the deal. If we can get Josh to 1,000 YouTube subscribers, I will do a bonus video breakdown of one of my favorite Josh Sokol games. So, in conclusion, Josh is amazing at Scrabble. He's one of my favorite people. Go subscribe to him now. You won't regret it. Thanks for watching.